Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Perform Happy podcast. My guest today is a former elite gymnast from the Netherlands who competed at Dutch national championships, a professional choreographer and beam coach who also has a background in applied sciences and social work and sports psychology, plus ballet and modern dance. I don't know how you've had the time in your life to do all these things, but Chloe Van Bavel, welcome to the
Yeah,
show.
thank you
Thank you
so
so much
much
for
for this
being here.
wide entrance. Really nice to hear. I think I could fit it in because I started early to all these
Yes.
things.
Yes, most gymnasts do start early. So I'd love to start with your elite career. Can you share a little bit about your gymnastics journey and what it was like kind of climbing the levels to the and then competing on the elite stage?
Oh, yes. Well, that's a long time ago. Um, so yeah, I just loved it from the start. My mom put me on ballet, and then one of the parents said, "Oh, whoa, she is very flexible. Maybe she should do gymnastics." And yeah, from one thing, it led to the other. So it's been like a really big part of me being young. Um, and when I quit, I also did a lot of dancing, like dance education. And one of the interesting things that my parents asked me, I think actually recently, they asked me, um, what did you prefer? Did you prefer gymnastics or dancing? And so my question was, do you mean the training, or do you mean the competition, or do you mean the dance class, or do you mean the dance performance? Because all those four things are very different from each other.
Yeah, so what did you prefer?
um, so I said, like for gymnastics, I loved the training because it had so much adrenaline, and there were so many possibilities what you could do with your body and with your teammates, and it was just very, yeah, exciting. And for the dance, I preferred the performance. Because there, when you perform in a group and you are part of something, and it feels a bit less like, oh, I'm doing it for a judge and I have to get a grade. So it felt more exciting to perform, um, in
That's
comparison than to do like to stand like you're 8 years old and you stand on a beam by yourself.
it is a little nerve-wracking. I don't know why we put ourselves through this, the idea of doing it with a whole team, that sounds much better, but here we
Yeah,
are in this sport. We compete
yeah.
alone.
Yeah, well, actually, I think you can still benefit from that idea. It is something that I find really important when I worked with one team as a coach for a long time. We also did some performances as a team to combine the gymnastics and the dancing. And the nice thing about this is that they learn to perform in a less nerve-wracking situation. So they become more a team. It is a team building event, and they also learn to express themselves.
Yes, so I would love to talk about that. Now, I'm a dance in my room by myself kind of girl, and I think that a lot of gymnasts are where they're, in my room I can sing and in my room I can dance, but when there are people watching me, I feel so awkward. And a lot of especially younger athletes can get really stiff and robotic and so nervous about being perfect when you choreograph, and you are meeting this little robot child, what are some of the first things you do to help them feel a little more comfortable dancing?
Yes. Now that's a nice question. I think there's, of course, a difference between if you are there in the training all the time, then of course you can, yeah, do things to let them feel confident gradually. But in my case, if I work with a young gymnast, and the first thing I will do is try to make her laugh. And so we try to break the ice like really enjoying something or having a laugh or doing something silly. So then at that point, if I can do that, and I think it succeeds always, then from that point on, we can be creative and feel more free and less insecure about just trying things out and being silly and not taking everything so seriously.
Yes, that makes total sense. It makes me think about Miss Valerie Fields Condos Fields, and she has this story where she, a girl has her arms up and she has to drop one arm and then the other, and she's like, "No, peel the banana." Like, not like this. It's you're peeling the banana and you're emerging from the peel, and she has this whole, and it's hilarious, and they laughed, and then forever she's always like, saying, "Peel the banana." But I think that you can in teaching dance make it funny and make it fun, and then it will stick. Like that girl probably peeled that banana for 4 years because she knew exactly
Yes.
what her body is supposed to be doing. So that's great tips for coaches to kind of keep it light when the kids are stressed and scared about moving their bodies.
Yes, definitely. If you cannot add humor, then what is the use? Because we want to have fun, right? And it is the easiest way to relax. So the tension in someone's body or in someone's system, it drops immediately if they are laughing.
Yes. Okay. So I think that I read that you also were a in your bedroom choreographing floor routines kind of girl. I had my one mirror and I was always doing my arms, and I was in my, it was not a big room, but I was always, doing routines and things. So is choreography something that you've always been interested in, or how did you kind of fall into that path?
Yeah, it's good that you bring me back again. It's really nice because, like in this case as well, when I was 9 years old, I did gymnastics, but I loved the dancing part, um, and so there were like at that time there were like websites where you could find all the floor music, and we would make a CD, or my parents would make it for me, and then I had like 3 CDs with all kinds of floor music, and I could spend hours to just make that up in my living room when I was 9 years old. And so it's very funny if I think back of that, because then I just did it because I just enjoyed it. And like one time we were allowed to show it to our coach, something like this. It was a very vivid and a very core memory of the joy of creating
Hmm.
something.
That's so cool. I feel like we even as kids sort of know where our passions lie. Not always, but when I was 12, I was the team sports psychologist, and I was always helping the kids and like helping them to be positive, and the things that come naturally to us. How lucky when that gets to be what you do for your career. That's just
Yeah, I
oh,
would never guess that that would happen, of course, but it's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've also talked about, crafting routines that move audiences. And I think about some of the iconic viral college gymnastics routines where, I mean, you are smiling with them, you're laughing with them. I've seen kind of like creepy Halloween routines where you're like, oh gosh, like that's creepy. What they're like, that girl is like a creepy doll out there. How do you work to bring in the emotion and the feeling? Because I mean, when a choreographer does that, it is so powerful to watch kids out there doing it.
Yes, I love that. I love the whole. So it's like artistic gymnastics, right? And the first
Mhm.
part of the word is art. So we just try to make a piece of art, and there are a lot of elements that go into that, I guess. And also, every process is different. Like one of the factors, of course, is the age of the gymnast. So um, as they grow a bit older, they grow more in terms of their own personality and identity of or knowing better what do they like, what don't they like. So this is of course really helpful if they develop a bit of personal identity, because then you can really bring that out more and more. And I like to do it in a collaboration kind of atmosphere. So I really try to make her part of the process, because then it gives me inspiration, of course, but also she will be the one that has to do this great performance, right? It's not for me, it's for her. So we try to do it together. And for example, what I really like to do is listen very mindfully to the music that we choose. Of course, the music is sketching the whole scene. If you have a Halloween kind of song, then of course the movements will feel that, right? So then we listen to the song with the eyes closed, and we just try openly to listen to the song and see if you can imagine, just like lying in bed, you know. Sometimes you see things, but it also depends on the person, right? The other one sees more, but someone else feels more something, or maybe you see colors or experience whatever you want. Everything is perfect. Um, yeah, and from there on, we get ideas and we can take a route.
Oh, so cool. It's like makes me want to go dance in my kitchen. I don't know. That's where most of the dancing happens in my house is in the kitchen. But
So,
so
during
okay.
cooking or
No, I don't cook. No, unfortunately for my children. No, I wish I could and did, but it's just the silliness. We just always like that's where the family has these like moments of we're just dancing. None of us have moves or style, but we have enthusiasm and passion. So
yeah,
that's
this is actually the most expressive kind of dance. Like I can really enjoy, it doesn't matter where or what age, but I can really enjoy if I can see, for example, someone in the club and this person is dancing because they are feeling free and they enjoy the moment, then that is what I can see. And then I find it beautiful, and it doesn't matter how that looks because I can feel that they are feeling it, right?
Mhm. Ooh, okay. This reminds me of it. This moment in my life where I was at a wedding, and I wonder if other people have these moments of dance with it that sort of stand out. I was at a wedding and I hadn't had anything to drink, and I was just like there, fully there, body, mind, and spirit. And had no one to dance with. It was a cousin's wedding, I had no date. And I was like, you know what? I don't know these people. And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to dance. And it was this amazing moment where I was like, I do not care what people think. And this was, into my 20s before I could say I don't care and I can just go
Hmm.
dance and just be with the music, whatever comes on. And I wonder, is there something that you can do with athletes that give them that freedom or that ability to really connect with music? Because that's something that doesn't come naturally to everybody. That self-consciousness can be such a big part of how an athlete performs a routine. Like, do you have any tips for getting people into that space where they can just go for it and let go?
Yes, I like that story, by the way. That's really great. Yeah, it's amazing. um, Yes, of course. There's not like a really quick fix or something, and it happens for everyone in a different way. But what I really like to teach is improvisation. So this is kind of like a skill. In my opinion, it's a skill that you can learn and teach. And gymnastics is sometimes very like driven, right? We have all the compositions and everything is worked out exactly how it should be, and everything is in place. Um, and that is why they do not really learn what it is like if something goes differently. So they don't feel so confident when things don't go as planned because they are very used that everything is clear. So then what I like to teach is improvisation. And I always teach that in a way where I give enough boundaries to give them the security that they need. Because if I just say to you, okay, go dance and be free, then this is not really working because the
Blank
challenge.
stares.
Yeah, exactly. You get like a freeze, and so the challenge is too big. So we have to think of things to lower the challenge and make a safe place. So how I do that, for example, is to start very easily. Um, if I think of dance, then it starts with like a shape, just like gymnastics moves actually. So you can start with a shape, and when you move from one shape to the other shape, you're already moving. And then when you can put that to counts or maybe to music, then you're already dancing. So it's actually that easy. So how you can do that is, for example, make up a game where you're gonna do like 4 poses. So maybe one low on the ground and one in the middle, one standing and one with everything high. And then you make 4 poses. And then first you're gonna try and move from pose to pose, and probably you will take a short route because that feels safe. And then you're going to try and see if you can create more a detour, or you extend the parts between the poses. And then suddenly, after a while, you're already improvising, dancing and moving in your own way, even though maybe you didn't even notice.
It's just taking me back to coaching because I used to do some of these things with the kids where I'd have them on beam and I'd have them start as a seed and then grow into a flower by the time you get to the other end of the beam. And
Yeah,
whatever that is for you is perfect. So you make
yeah,
a little nugget in the on one end and then you're a beautiful flower on the other end. And it was, you'd have all kinds of weird stuff happening as they walked
yeah,
across the beam, but it was perfect, whatever it was. Just you do whatever a flower feels like to you. Or we'd have these moments where I would just pick a random song and go, okay, you have to do a leap, a roll, and a pose with your hand on your knee. Ready, go. And then connect it with pretty things or something like that. And the kids loved it. I think even the nervous kids, just to be given the opportunity to break out of the mold a little bit in gymnastics is kind of like
yeah.
intimidating, but then fun. So yeah,
Yes, I agree totally, and also for the more shy kids, yes, it is. If you give them enough guidelines that they can feel safe, and they do it all together, and you can add emotions, you can add different songs. Yeah, you can do so many things with that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like go do a grumpy routine, with an angry face, or go do do one where
Yes,
you're
exactly. Or just like a feeling like it's a exploration, right? So you can explore also together, or in little groups, and explore, okay, but if we want to make the same movements angry, then what do we change and how does that work then? And then you just learn about the moves. And it is so
Mhm.
not so scary than just having to perform, or yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, if there are kids listening who are, wanting to impress the judges more with the routine that they already have. So they have this routine, whether it's a compulsory routine or an optional routine, they've got their routine and they
Yeah.
want to impress the judges and they want to make more of an impact. What are some adjustments that they can make within the confines of their routine?
Yes. I think of 2 things. Um, One is I try, this is like more, I think, this is not very focused on their own routine, but I just always try to explain to the gymnasts, you know, these judges, they like gymnastics, but also they're working really hard and they're sitting there for hours and hours. And you also want to give them maybe a good time, or like maybe they're hungry and they didn't eat yet or something. So then if you come on, it's nice if you can get them and to enjoy the moment as well. So this is like to make the judge a bit less intimidating, because it is also just a human that likes gymnastics, and also wants you to do well. So that part, and the other part for the routine itself, I always focus a lot on contrasts. So, for example, um, if we only say like make everything bigger, bigger, this can be quite difficult sometimes, because yeah, I already try to make it big, you know. So what else can I do? Um, but a contrast is a bit like when you take a photo or when you make a video, you can adjust all the things, right? Either the brightness, you can make it really dark or really bright, or you can make it more sharp. So these are contrasts that we can work with, and you can learn and try to adjust it. So this is how I look at the routine. And so then you can, for example, choose a kind of contrast. So, for example, um, from sharp movements and soft movements. And then you can try and see if you can make the contrast bigger. So that doesn't mean that everything has to be sharp or everything has to be soft or you have to be very, very soft. But because there's more contrast, it already looks a lot more interesting to watch. So this is kind of like your flower because it starts really small and it ends really big. This is why it is very interesting to watch, and it doesn't even matter in what way it happens,
Mhm.
but it is just a big difference. If you already start like a flower and it only has to, like, it's already a flower, but only has to bloom a bit more, then you don't see so much difference.
It's not as interesting. Yeah, and figuring out what to do with that middle space is always tricky to get from the little to the big. What do you do? Okay, that's great because even in a compulsory routine, you can balance softness with sharpness in a way that isn't going to get you, technical deductions, but will more give the judge that, wow, that was the same routine, but that was fun to watch. And
Yes, exactly. And there are a lot more contrasts that you can think of. You can even try together with your teammates. What kind of contrasts are there out there? I do this with coaches as well. If I do a clinic, and you get a very interesting list of different kinds of contrasts.
Okay, now back to the kind of expression part of
Yeah.
dance for
Mhm.
the for kids who are nervous. What is important for coaches out there to do to get the kids in a place where they feel like they can express themselves authentically?
Yes. I think one of the most important things is that as a coach, especially in this area, like expression, as a coach, um, you don't have to be a great dancer. You don't have to have the best moves. It is absolutely not necessary. But what you do need to have is a big comfort zone and willing to open your own comfort zone as a coach. So that means that that you want to try and don't feel so much shame yourself. And so I always advise the coach to try and be, yeah, silly and free, and it doesn't have to look good because the gymnasts, they can look through that, they don't care, but they can see if you they can feel if you are ashamed or like holding yourself back as well, or that you just do something silly and you don't care how it looks, and then they have the example, oh, it doesn't matter how I look because the coach also does silly things. She also don't, or he doesn't care how he looks. So now for me it is less pressure to feel, oh, it has to look in a certain way.
Mm.
So I actually recently had a coach, and it was a male coach, and he said, yes, I am not very good at dancing, but I do this. But I was telling him this, and then he said, yes, I do this, and they laugh very hard, and then they feel quite free. So it is true, because he's not very artistic, but he just doesn't care.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think parents too can really learn from that, I do not care in the kitchen with those kids because I want them to not care and I want them to be able to dance around silly with me. And it's so
Yeah.
fun for me to look at my kid's report card. It's like the thing I love is that she always has, good grades in the like art, dance, music thing because and
Hmm.
they're like she is enthusiastic, she goes after it. And I'm like, girlfriend has zero rhythm, but she is enthusiastic and she like just gets out there and does it. And I think it's probably because that's what we do at our house. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't care if I look bad. I don't care. It's just fun to move my body. And I think it's such a great example for coaches and parents to think you set the context. And if you're shy and afraid, your kid's going to be that way. If you are looking at yourself in the mirror and going, oof, I don't like what I see, then they're going to do the same thing. If you are like, this is perfect, let's do it, let's have some fun and be ourselves, then that's what you're going to have on your team. That's just a great little nugget for us to all file
Yeah.
away, you know?
Yeah, we cannot expect them to do something that we don't do, or we don't set the same example. So I cannot expect them to get out of the comfort zone all the time when I don't do it myself. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now you have a background in sports psychology and social work. That is so cool. And how do you see that blending with choreography and, really helping athletes grow as humans through dance? How do those two connect?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. I think it also connects from like from my own career as well. So um I think somewhere along the line I loved all the dancing and I loved all the gymnastics. But I really love humans. And I
Mm.
really am interested in how they develop. Um so yeah, how to connect them. Well, for me, I create a like I envision a circle where I have gymnastics development and I have artistic development and I have personal growth. And all these three things, they help each other. So if you focus on anything on the personal level or the mental improvements or the psychology, anything that you build there will improve their artistic development or will improve their gymnastics skills. So yeah, if you just look at them as connected and in a holistic view, then it always helps each other. And yes, maybe some of them will do gymnastics for a very long time. I'm very happy that um, gymnasts are staying longer and longer in the sport. I think this is really good and really healthy. um, but yeah, there's also life after gymnastics, maybe, or you don't have to do it your whole life. So it's better to build just strong human beings that feel ready for life and all its challenges. And gymnastics is a really good school for that because there are a lot of very interesting things that you can learn on the mental aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm just connecting that time in my life when I could dance at that wedding was a time immediately following a lot of mental and spiritual growth. And
Mm.
that I think
Hmm.
that they go hand in hand. And I see it with kids with fear that they might have something happening in their non-gymnastics life that makes their skills act up. And that the mental health allows the athlete to exit their comfort zone. If you have a mindset that is challenging or, a mental just your mental experience is a challenge, then you're already out of your comfort zone the moment you walk in the gym. So it's hard to really feel like you can bloom into a flower if you're just trying to hold it together. So it's interesting to think that, how you address your mindset and your mental health will be how you express yourself on the floor and how you show
Yes.
up in relationship. I mean, it all is so connected.
Yeah, yeah, and I also like what you say about like the core moment for you. After that, you had a lot of growth. I think for me, one of my skills that I was really happy that I think I had developed kind of naturally is from the age of 13, I was very conscious about reflecting on things that had happened. So then, instead of being the one that experiences all these maybe difficult things, you feel like you are the person that can observe the things that are happening. Once I got that when I was 13, I was really, it really helped me through life and it still helps me. And I think it also helps me to foster the interest of studying um, the social work art. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the clues that we find from our daily experiences are so valuable. And I teach this to the kids that your failure is your best teacher. So if you take any mistake and learn from it and find the clues about what set you up and what didn't, you will not, you won't have performance anxiety because you know that every experience is just giving you more wisdom to become a better version of yourself. I would love to hear your method, for if somebody wants to do that and they're 13 and they want to start becoming more aware, what
Hmm.
did you do that helped you with that? Was it journaling? Was it, what was your actual process that helped you to create that self-awareness?
I think several things. That's an interesting question. Um, I think what helps most is to try and observe other humans' behavior in a non-judgmental way, because you also don't want to judge yourself the whole time, of course, or you want to try not to do that all the time. So try and observe people with a lens of curiosity. So just being curious about, okay, this is also a human. Maybe they also experience certain things. And how do they behave? And if you then also, like, if you can reflect on a moment that you found difficult or interesting, maybe it was even like a very positive moment. It doesn't have to always be the challenging things. And you can, when you are out of that moment, you can just take a little moment to think back on, oh, this person did this, and oh, how can, why, and oh, maybe I did this, and oh, and then I thought that, and just try and see if you can relive it without that you are that person. So a lot of times when we feel something, even though feeling is very temporary and it always passes, we feel very much identified with that feeling. So we feel like we are that, but we are not that. We are the one who is observing the person that is experiencing that. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, I like to explain it like you are a mountain and
Hmm.
your thoughts are the weather. And so I ask kids, okay, if you're the mountain and then it starts pouring rain, what will you think? We'd be like, "Oh, I'm so wet. Oh no, and I'm like, "Well, no, you are just a mountain. You're still just a mountain." Or, "Oh, the sun is so hot. It's burning my side." No, you're just a mountain and you're just there. And then the sun will come and the clouds will come and the thoughts will come. And so, in relation to an emotion, it's instead of thinking, I am afraid, it's I am having a fear thought or
Hmm.
I'm having a happy thought that you can sort of separate yourself from your thoughts. And then that helps you to realize, oh, I am me. Life is happening. And I have some more of a choice of whether I attach myself to or feel affected by versus just going, okay, I'm having a fear thought. Let's find some clues about what brought this on. What is it that's going on? What do I need? Thank you, fear thought, for allowing me to have that awareness so that I needed something.
Yes.
That does that feel like what you're thinking about? How do-
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. It's a really nice analogy. And in the Netherlands, we have like something that is called flip thinking. This is actually like just a company, and it has really nice podcasts. I'm sorry, doing a random promotion here, but no, it's really like just trying to see more than one side to anything.
Mhm,
Like you say, if you look at it and you just feel like oh, I hate that this happened to me, or I hate that I feel like this. Um, then it stays a problem, of course. But if you are able to also maybe find a moment to feel thankful because it gives you new information that you can learn from,
mhm,
then you get a new light. And if you can just watch the same situation from as many options as possible, or see from as many point of views as you can find, then this is really helpful. This is actually how I try and live my life. So sometimes it's also maybe a little bit challenging because I can see everything from all the sides. But it's also really nice because nothing is then really the end of the world anymore.
mhm, mhm. That reminds me of a game I like to play with kids called Unfortunately, Fortunately. And so they
Mm.
come up with the unfortunate thing. Unfortunately, I forgot my grips at the meet and I'm freaking out. Fortunately, my friend has the same size grips and she's letting me borrow them. Unfortunately, yeah, and you can do, and they love it. Like I love to do this in a group, and parents, you can do this in the car. My kids love this too. Where unfortunately, I failed my math test. Fortunately, I did great on science. Fortunately, it doesn't actually count toward my grade. So you can always find that other side. And now, not to say that if someone is grieving something that, something has gone wrong and they're sad, we don't want to be like, just find the silver lining, you're fine, but I think it is a
No.
really great skill as, within yourself to be able to go, okay, I'm having a feeling. I'm allowed to feel this feeling. And there's also something good that I can
Yeah.
find once I've processed through.
I like that nuance that you don't have to change it immediately, right? Some things take some time to process, but even the harder things, there's always a silver lining to be found.
Mhm.
The beauty in the pain, and yeah, there's always other sides to anything.
Yes. And as grown-ups, we know that because we have enough distance from the painful,
Yeah.
adolescent experiences, which are so many that we can go, oh,
Mm.
okay, thank goodness I didn't marry that boy,
Yeah,
or
yes, yes.
whatever,
Yeah, but I really like your like a very simplistic kinds of games that you're telling. I should take notes. It's really interesting.
Well, I just working with kids, I think it's great because it breaks everything down. Because grown-ups, we make things complicated and it doesn't
Hmm.
have to be. So,
No,
uh,
like one of the easiest tools that I also have is just normal regulation, which is breathe, just helping someone to breathe again.
yeah,
Always a good moment.
well, that and the combination of connection and breathing, especially breathing with somebody, can really help the nervous system kind of come
Yes.
back online or offline, depending on what you're, trying to do. Yeah. So thinking forward, these kids, I know that these kids that I coach, I have certain, like, I just want them to be confident in life. Yes, I want them to get their skills, but I really want them to be confident in life. What are the life skills that you hope that gymnasts take away when you have the opportunity to work with them?
Hmm. That's also a nice question. I think it would be a whole package of yeah, many things that I would want them to take away. Um, One of the things that I like that I learned is like some perseverance. So just that you can continue even though you don't get what you want immediately. That you can, yeah, be consistent or just try it again and again and again. Of course, to learn and manage a disappointment because there will be enough disappointment. I mean, you will fall so many times. So, um, yeah, I think that's a really good skill to learn. To regulate your nerves because it's really like something like uh, performing on a beam is like really a high pressure moment, right? So in that moment, it might feel like very intense, but it will give you a very interesting um, managing of your emotions and managing your mind and being able to survive. No,
Mhm.
being able to survive these kind of high pressure things already on such a young age um, is really valuable um, because like it's not like for older people it's less scary. Maybe they find it just as scary. Some of them, you can have the same fears, but if you learn it already at a young age, you'll find it able to easier to manage it when you're older, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes,
also just
absolutely.
to enjoy passion and just to try and have as much fun while learning. So I really like want people to know that learning is fun and want them to feel that it is really fun to learn and to try and to feel like maybe frustrated, still don't get it, but almost, and then I almost got it, and
Yeah.
uh, learning is really fun and really nice exploration. So enjoy that.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, Chloe, thank you so much for your wisdom. If people want to follow your journey or if they want to find out how to work with you, what's the best way to find you?
I think Instagram is the best place. So it's my name, Chloe Van Bavel. I hope you can write it correctly. It's not very easy, but yeah, I think that's the best way where you can find me. I also have a website, but it's all connected to uh, my Instagram. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You make me want to go dance in the kitchen. I hope everybody listening, your assignment is to go dance in the kitchen with your children, or whatever. Just go, yeah, like go be a flower, go dance it out,
Mm.
go
Movement
be,
is fun.
yeah, have a little
Yeah.
fun. I think hopefully people are inspired, and thank you for the great work that you are doing to help kids, blossom and come into themselves. It's so wonderful. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.